Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a question that I think has probably crossed all of our minds at some point. How do you find true, lasting love?
Hmm.
We're not talking about just, the fleeting sparks, but the kind of connection that really endures.
Right, the deep stuff.
Exactly. Our source for this exploration is a pretty comprehensive guide. It's called How to Find True Love, the Ultimate Guide.
Sounds promising.
Yeah, think of it like a roadmap, sort of, to understanding, attracting, and crucially, recognizing genuine love in your life.
Okay.
So, our mission today is basically to pull out the most valuable insights from this resource to give you a clearer understanding of what it all means.
Exactly. And this isn't about like surface level tips.
Right.
We're really digging into the core principles behind meaningful relationships.
Good.
We're drawing from this substantial piece of work that, aims to be a go-to resource for anyone serious about finding true partnership. So we'll be unpacking things like the real difference between infatuation and lasting love, how getting to know yourself plays such a crucial role, and some practical ways to navigate the search.
Okay, so the guide kicks things off by laying the groundwork, really getting into what true love is.
Hmm.
And right off the bat, it emphasizes that difference, between the initial rush, the
Yeah,
infatuation,
that chemistry hit.
and the deeper connection of true compatibility. We've all felt that initial spark, haven't we? That intense chemistry.
Oh, absolutely.
But what are the signposts, like the things that tell us if it's actually leading somewhere more meaningful?
Well, what's interesting here, I think, is that the initial infatuation phase,
Mm-hmm.
it's often fueled by things like, novelty and really strong physical attraction.
Sure.
True love, though, it tends to build more gradually. It's characterized by a deeper sense of um, mutual respect, understanding, shared values, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So the guide suggests looking beyond that initial, like, wow factor
Right.
and asking yourself some key questions.
Hmm.
Like, do you genuinely admire this person? Even the parts that aren't, picture perfect.
Good point.
Do you connect on a really fundamental level when it comes to what you believe in, where you see your life heading?
Yeah,
Infatuation can sometimes feel like wearing those rose-tinted glasses, you know?
totally.
But true love, it allows you to see clearly, warts and all, maybe.
And it seems our ideas about love are often shaped by some pretty strong cultural narratives, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely.
The guide actually takes on some common myths, like that idea of a single predestined soulmate just waiting out there for
The
us.
one.
Yeah, the one. Why can holding on to those kinds of beliefs actually be, well, unhelpful?
If we look at the bigger picture,
Hmm.
that soulmate myth can create some pretty unrealistic expectations, can it?
Yeah, I can see that.
It can imply that love should just be effortless, and if you hit any bumps in the road,
It wasn't meant to be.
exactly, it's a sign you haven't found the one. But the reality is, even the most fulfilling relationships require effort. They need open communication, a willingness to compromise.
Work, basically.
Yeah, work. And similarly, the idea that you'll just instantly know when it's right, well, that can sometimes lead people to overlook potential red flags.
Or rush in too fast.
Or rush into commitments based purely on a feeling, rather than checking for genuine compatibility. True love isn't always a thunderbolt. Sometimes it's more like a slow, steady warmth that grows over time.
Okay, this is where it gets really thought-provoking for me. The guide even delves into the science behind how we bond. It mentions things like oxytocin and attachment styles.
The biological angle.
So, what does our biology actually tell us about how we form these lasting connections?
Well, this raises a fascinating point, doesn't it? About the interplay between our biology and our life experiences.
Right.
So oxytocin, often called the love hormone or cuddle hormone,
Yeah, I've heard that.
it plays a pretty significant role in creating feelings of bonding and attachment. It's
Mhm.
like that sense of comfort and connection you might feel when you hug someone you care about deeply.
Okay.
And understanding your attachment style is also really key here. These styles usually categorized as secure, anxious, or avoidant. They reflect the patterns of relating we developed early on,
Hmm.
based on interactions with parents or caregivers.
Right, how we learn to connect.
Exactly. So someone with a secure attachment style, they typically find it easier to trust and be close to others.
Okay.
Whereas someone with an anxious style might often seek constant reassurance.
Hmm.
And someone with an avoidance style might really prioritize independence, maybe even push intimacy away.
Wow.
So recognizing your own tendencies and perhaps those of a potential partner,
Mm.
Well, that can offer really valuable insights into how you both navigate intimacy and connection.
And to really illustrate this, the guide shares a story. It's about someone whose partner seemed to tick all the boxes on paper, you know.
Perfect.
Right, same background, similar interests, all that. But ultimately, this person felt unseen. Like their true self wasn't really being recognized. I think that's something a lot of us can probably relate to.
Oh, absolutely.
What's the core message in that kind of experience?
That kind of story really highlights the crucial difference, doesn't it,
Yeah.
between loving an idealized version of someone, the person you think they are,
Mm.
or maybe the person you want them to be,
Yeah.
and truly loving their authentic self, flaws and all.
Right.
Someone might meet all your external criteria, your checklist, but if they don't genuinely understand your inner world, your vulnerabilities, what makes you you at your core, well, the guide argues that's not really true love.
Hmm.
Just underscores the importance of feeling genuinely seen and accepted for who you are, not who someone else wants you to be.
Okay, so we're starting to get a clearer picture of what true love looks like, and perhaps more importantly, what it doesn't look like.
Yeah.
The guide then moves into a really fundamental area, the importance of self-knowledge.
Mhm.
It argues that self-love isn't just some trendy phrase.
Not just a buzzword.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a crucial foundation for finding a healthy partnership. Why is understanding yourself so key here?
Well, think of it this way. If you don't have a solid understanding of your own needs, your values, your desires in life, it becomes much harder to build a fulfilling relationship with someone else, right?
Makes sense.
You might end up settling for something that doesn't truly nourish you. Or you might project your own insecurities and unmet needs onto your partner.
Ah, okay.
Self-love, or maybe self-awareness is a better term, it fosters a sense of inner completeness, security. So when you approach a relationship from that place of wholeness, you're less likely to be driven by neediness,
Right.
and you're more able to offer and receive genuine love.
And a big part of that self-knowledge, according to this guide, is identifying your core value, those non-negotiables in a relationship.
Yes.
It even suggests making a list, like your top 5. Why is that exercise so valuable?
Pinpointing your core values. It acts like your internal compass when you're navigating the world of relationships.
Okay, like a North Star.
Kind of, yeah. These are the fundamental principles that guide your life, the things that are truly important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, you want a partner who respects and aligns with these values, at least mostly.
Right.
For example, if honesty and trust are way up there on your list,
Which they probably are for most people.
right, then being in a relationship where those are consistently undermined, well, that's inevitably going to lead to conflict and unhappiness.
Sure.
So understanding your non-negotiables helps you filter potential partners more effectively. And it helps you avoid investing your time and energy in connections that are just fundamentally misaligned with who you are.
The guide also touches on something pretty deep, the idea of healing past wounds.
Ah, yes, the baggage.
Yeah, acknowledging that unresolved emotional baggage can really create obstacles in our ability to form healthy partnerships now. How do our past experiences tend to shape our relationship patterns today?
Well, our past experiences, especially negative ones like, tough breakups or difficult family dynamics, they can create these emotional blueprints.
Blueprints.
Yeah, patterns that influence how we approach relationships later in life.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if you've experienced betrayal in the past,
Mm-hmm.
you might find yourself struggling with trust in new relationships, even if there's no concrete reason to doubt your current partner.
Okay, I see.
Unresolved trauma or um, emotional baggage can lead to things like a fear of intimacy or a tendency to repeat unhealthy relationship patterns.
Like dating the same type over and over.
Exactly. Or even an unconscious attraction to partners who kind of mirror past hurts.
Wow.
So engaging in self-reflection, maybe through therapy or journaling, or just deep thought to understand and process these past experiences is really crucial. It helps break free from those cycles and create space for a healthier, more loving connection.
That makes a lot of sense. And interestingly, the guide sort of flips the perspective here. It suggests that actively cultivating the qualities you seek in a partner is also a key step in attracting someone compatible.
Yes. This is about becoming the partner you want to attract.
Can you elaborate on that idea? It sounds a bit like be the change you want to see.
It's kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about taking a proactive role in your own growth and well-being.
Mm.
So if you're looking for a partner who is, say, emotionally available,
Right.
a good communicator, has their own passions and interests,
Okay.
it makes sense to cultivate those qualities within yourself first.
Hmm,
There's a certain magnetism, isn't there, to someone who is self-aware, engaged with life, treats others with respect.
definitely.
So by becoming the kind of person you admire and seek in a partner, you not only boost your own self-esteem and sense of fulfillment,
Which is good in itself.
absolutely,
Yeah.
but you also increase the likelihood of attracting someone who shares those values and qualities, like attracts like, to some extent.
Okay, so we've done the internal work, or we're working on it. We have a better understanding of ourselves. Now comes the big question. Where do you actually meet someone? Someone who could be that true love we've been discussing.
The million-dollar question.
Right. The guide offers a bit of a surprising idea here, suggesting that actively looking for love might actually be less effective than focusing on just living a fulfilling life.
Mm.
What's the thinking behind that?
It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't
A
it?
little, yeah.
But the interesting thing here is that when you become overly focused on the search for love, it can sometimes lead to a sense of desperation,
Mm.
or maybe a tendency to settle for less than you truly deserve, because the focus is just on finding someone.
Okay, the pressure.
Exactly, the pressure.
Yeah.
Instead, the guide suggests shifting your primary focus to creating a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling for you, regardless of your relationship status.
Right.
When you're actively engaged in activities you enjoy, pursuing your passions, building strong connections within your community, you naturally encounter people who share your interests and values.
Organically?
Organically, yeah. Love often blossoms quite naturally in those kinds of environments, rather than through some forced or relentless search.
And it also highlights the value of expanding your social circles, right?
Yeah.
Exploring different avenues for meeting people,
Definitely.
whether it's through volunteering, joining a hobby group, traveling, or just engaging more actively within your local community. Why are these kinds of activities often such fertile ground for potential connections?
Well, these settings provide really authentic opportunities to meet people who share your underlying interests and values, don't they?
True.
When you're both engaged in an activity you're passionate about, whether it's hiking or painting or volunteering at an animal shelter,
Yeah.
the initial connection is often based on something genuine and shared, rather than just, say, superficial attraction on an app.
Okay.
This can create a more relaxed, less pressured atmosphere for relationships to develop. You're seeing people in their natural element,
Mhm.
which often reveals more about their true personality and character.
Of course, in today's world, we have to talk about online dating. It's a major factor for so many people.
Huge.
Does the guide touch on how to approach dating apps in a way that increases the chances of finding genuine connections rather than just getting caught up in endless swiping?
Yes, it does.
Right.
And it likely emphasizes the importance of presenting an authentic version of yourself in your online profile.
Being real.
Being real, yeah.
Yeah.
Being clear and honest about your intentions, what you're actually looking for,
Hmm.
and really looking beyond just the profile pictures.
Harder than it sounds sometimes.
It can be, but asking thoughtful questions in your messages, trying to engage in meaningful conversations early on to see if there's a deeper connection,
Mm-hmm.
and being willing to move beyond endless texting to actually meet in person safely, of course, are all crucial strategies.
Right.
It's about using these platforms with intention,
Mhm.
rather than just getting swept up in a cycle of superficial interactions.
And for those listening who might live in smaller towns or feel like they have limited social circles, that's a common concern, right? The perceived lack of potential partners.
Absolutely. A very real challenge for some.
The guide actually addresses this. It suggests some less conventional options, like exploring digital nomad dating.
Interesting.
Yeah, connecting with people who aren't tied to a specific location, or even considering relocation if finding a compatible partner is a major priority.
Big step, relocation.
Huge step.
Mm.
Or even just taking a fresh look at the possibilities within your existing local network. It's interesting to see those broader options presented.
Definitely. In areas with a smaller population, it often requires a bit more creative thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Exploring the idea of connecting with people who embrace location independence, like in digital nomad dating, that obviously opens up a wider pool.
It's true.
For some, considering relocation, well, it's a significant decision, but it might be a viable path if finding that compatible long-term relationship is a top life priority. And sometimes, yeah, it's just about reevaluating the people already within your existing social circles, or being open to possibilities you might have previously overlooked for whatever reason.
Okay, so let's say you've done all this. You've met someone, things are clicking, you're starting to feel a connection. How do you begin to discern if it's a genuine one? If it has the potential to blossom into that true love we've been talking about?
The discernment phase.
Yeah. The guide lays out some key indicators, those often overlooked green flags. What are some of the most telling signs?
Well, one of the most significant green flags the guide likely highlights is that feeling of safety,
Safety. How so?
the sense that you can truly be yourself around this person, with all your quirks and vulnerabilities, without that fear of judgment or rejection.
Okay, that's big.
It is big. And another really important indicator is how you navigate disagreements.
Ah, conflict.
Yeah. In a genuine connection, conflict isn't seen as like a threat to the relationship. It's seen more as an opportunity for mutual understanding and growth. You feel like you're on the same team, essentially, working together to find solutions, not fighting against each other.
That's a great way to put it. On the other hand, the guide also points out a significant red flag,
Always important to look for those too.
a persistent feeling of uncertainty about where you stand in the relationship. Why is this kind of consistent doubt such a warning sign?
Well, persistent uncertainty. It often signals a lack of clear communication, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or maybe a lack of commitment from the other person.
Right.
If you consistently find yourself feeling anxious or unsure about their feelings, their intentions, it suggests an imbalance in the relationship.
Okay.
True love, while it certainly has its ups and downs like any real thing, generally fosters a sense of security and clarity overall. While occasional doubts are normal, human,
Mm,
a constant state of confusion, that can be emotionally draining.
yeah.
And it's often a sign that your fundamental needs for security and validation just aren't being met in that connection.
And a really encouraging sign of a true connection, according to the guide, is that your partner inspires your personal growth
Yes.
rather than making you feel small or restricted. That's a powerful indicator, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Right.
A truly loving partner should be, your biggest champion.
Your cheerleader,
Yeah, encouraging your aspirations, celebrating your achievements, supporting you through challenges. They should inspire you to become the best version of yourself.
not hold you back.
Exactly. Not hold you back or make you feel insecure about your ambitions and dreams. A genuine connection fosters mutual growth and empowerment.
So, okay, you found this genuine connection. Amazing. Now comes the ongoing work, right? Nurturing it for the long term.
Our marathon, not the sprint.
Precisely. The guide offers some valuable insights into sustaining intimacy. One that really stood out to me was the importance of prioritizing emotional connection over simply falling into a routine. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, it's so easy for long-term relationships to settle into comfortable routines, isn't it?
Very easy.
But prioritizing emotional intimacy means actively nurturing that bond beyond just the day-to-day logistics of life together.
Okay.
This involves consciously making time for meaningful conversations, really sharing your inner thoughts and feelings, actively listening, truly listening to your partner.
Not just waiting to talk.
Right. And maintaining that deeper emotional connection that goes beyond just sharing a living space or managing schedules. Emotional intimacy is truly the bedrock, I think, of lasting and fulfilling love.
The guide also emphasizes the value of continuing to date your partner, even after many years together.
Yes. Keep dating.
It sounds simple, but why is intentionally carving out that kind of time and attention so vital for keeping the spark alive?
Well, the act of consciously dating your partner, planning special outings, engaging in shared activities you both enjoy, showing intentional affection, it helps keep the romance and excitement alive.
It shows effort.
It shows effort. Exactly. It's a tangible way of signaling that you still value and appreciate your partner, that you're committed to nurturing the connection beyond just the everyday responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
It helps prevent the relationship from becoming stagnant,
Yeah.
and it reinforces those feelings of connection and attraction that brought you together in the first place.
Finally, the guide briefly touches on the concept of love languages. Now, for anyone who might not be familiar with this idea, what's the core principle and why is understanding it relevant to nurturing long-term love?
Sure. The concept of love languages, in essence, suggests that people express and experience love in different primary ways.
Okay.
They're typically categorized as words of affirmation.
Like saying, I love you, or compliment,
Exactly. Then acts of service.
doing things for them.
Right, like doing the dishes or fixing something,
Mhm.
receiving gifts,
Pretty straightforward.
quality time.
Undivided attention,
Yep. And physical touch.
hugs, holding hands, etc.
Precisely. So understanding your partner's primary love language, how they best feel love,
Yeah.
and also being aware of your own, well, it allows you to express your love in a way that's most meaningful and impactful for them.
And vice versa.
and vice versa.
Okay.
This can significantly enhance feelings of being loved, appreciated, and understood within that long-term relationship.
Hmm.
It's about speaking their language of love.
Okay, so to bring it all together in this deep dive into the ultimate guide on finding true love. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground.
We really have.
We've explored how to differentiate between, infatuation and true compatibility, the crucial role of self-knowledge,
Foundational
effective ways to expand your horizons and actually meet people,
practical steps.
how to recognize those genuine green flags and red flags in a connection,
Crucial discernment.
and some key strategies for nurturing love so that it lasts.
Yeah, the whole journey, really.
So ultimately, the guide seems to underscore this idea that true love isn't about finding some mythical perfect person, is it?
Not at all. It's really about deeply embracing the beautiful imperfections of someone who wholeheartedly embraces yours.
I like that.
It's an active and ongoing process. It requires conscious effort, open and honest communication, and really a daily choice to nurture that unique connection you've built.
And on that note, here's a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. What is one small intentional step you could take this week? Maybe in deepening your understanding of yourself, or perhaps in how you approach your relationships. Just one small step that might bring you a little bit closer to finding or nurturing that true and lasting love you're seeking.
That's a really insightful question to reflect on. A great place to leave it.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.